Welcome to another weekend wash. In today's episode, I'm going to be washing our Lexus and checking out a new pressure washer. This pressure washer is making its rounds around YouTube. The company is Giraffe Tools, and they're sending this pressure washer to different detailers. They sent it to me free. This is not going to be a typical type of review video or anything like that. I'll show you some pros and cons to this type of pressure washer, and if it's something you're interested in, then I'll have the links down below. But so far, hooking it up and just using it to rinse, it feels nice. Now I'll talk about if this is going to be the type of pressure washer that will be for a professional, for a mobile guy, for an at-home setting. I'll talk about all of that. So first off, I'm going to rinse and wash our Lexus. We did do a couple of trips with it, and it's been a couple of weeks since I washed it. But what I'd like to do in this episode also is strip the hood. I'm going to polish it. I'm not going to do a strip wash. That's not how I usually do things anyway. But what I am going to do is lightly polish it. That will take care of any protection that might be on there, because we do have the Glossum wax and we have the Hybrid Solutions to the Max Wax half and half on this hood. So we're going to polish it because it needs some polishing, and then I'm going to test out some ceramic coatings on the hood. Now first off, with this thing, you do get 100 feet of this residential type hose. It's not a professional grade type of hose, but it is 100 feet of it. It is a fully retractable line. That's a really cool pro of this. I think that's a really nice design. Everything is integrated. The pressure washer is built inside of there. All you have to do is hook up the water here. You connect your hose here. Now I retrofitted my own mounts here, my own quick connects. You can buy these ones that go into these residential ends, and then you can clip any type of 3/8 inch quick connect guns. I like these short snubby guns. It comes with the long lance here, but I just don't prefer that. If you do, great. I don't. I like this. I get more control. Now as far as the functionality of this, it is pretty cool. The way it mounts, it actually comes apart here and lifts up. I'll show you that in just a moment. But it lifts up, so you can bring it inside. So it's not really that big of a deal. It's actually kind of a nice all-in-one design. So definitely those features are pros. Now, any of the cons, and this is not a negative knock towards the product or anything like that, because this is geared towards residential consumer. This is not going to be geared toward the professional detailer. I'm a professional detailer, and I can certainly use it. So, you know, it can kind of be a nice backup system if you need that. The pressure on it is not super strong. From what I can tell, it's probably between 1,000 to 1,200 PSI once it comes out of the gun here. I'll put all the specs also down below for this, so you can check out all the specifications for it. Now, as far as using this in a mobile unit, you could totally put this in a mobile unit, but what you'll have to do is get a on-demand pump. You can't draw from a static source with this pressure washer, because it's not going to pull. It doesn't have the power to do that. So you will have to have a separate on-demand pump going into here, and then you could totally use a system like this in a mobile setting. The other thing is taking this all apart to replace a hose. Say for instance, you get a leak in the hose after some time, these wear down, and if you're dragging it across the pavement or wherever you're working, gravel and pavement, every day because you're a professional detailer, then these are going to wear out very fast, and I'm not sure about replacements. You're going to have to contact the company to get a replacement hose. It may not be that difficult to unravel everything and actually put in a new hose, but that's something to think about when you're purchasing an all-in-one unit like this. Once something goes, it might be hard to source the parts for it. Just saying, I have to put that out there because that's very, very important for a professional. For a consumer, where you're going to mount this in your garage or something, you're not using it every day, you're using it every week, maybe every 2 weeks, maybe once a month, it's not going to get a ton of use, so it's safe for that. Now, as far as mounting this thing, that's actually very, very easy. It comes with this bracket. You just mount this bracket here onto whatever surface you need to, and it slides right into the bracket on the pressure washer. So that is very easy. The installation of this is extremely easy. I'm going to get this out of the way, and all you need to do is slide it into place like that. So in wintertime, you can bring this right in. Now for connecting the water and the power here, I just have it connected to my retractable line, my electric line here. does have the little GFCI. No water gets over there. I don't want to put it over here because water pools up. just make sure to have that out of the way or hang it up. That's also another nice thing. If you have hooks on the end of your mounts or on your walls, hang that up so that's properly and safely put away out of water. And you can always get quick connects for these ends too, so you can just snap in and snap out. But overall, I like the compact design and I like the fully retractable line, and it's 100 feet. Again, that's pretty nice. I think it's great to have this set up somewhere in your shop or your garage as a backup. As your main pressure washer for a professional, I wouldn't recommend that necessarily. And again, it's not a negative knock towards the product. It's just being real. It's being realistic. Professionals need to be able to replace hoses quickly. For instance, my setup right here is a little torn apart because this right here, after some time, the swivel mount that goes right here, it will wear out. The little gaskets in there will wear out. And I was running hot water through here, and it can handle hot water, but again, I'm using this almost every single day, and it gets a lot of usage. What I had to do is buy the gaskets that go here, and I'm waiting for them to come in, and once they do, then the swivel mount will go back on, and I can hook everything up. But it's a mess right now. That's just going to happen. So keep that in mind. You need to be able to repair things easily, source parts easily. That way you can repair things yourself and not have to buy a brand new unit or a brand new reel or a brand new hose or anything like that. You can repair pieces when needed. Of course, if a hose gets a leak in it, you gotta chuck it. There's nothing you can do about that. For some of these parts, these you can source and replace. Keep that in mind. Professional setting, more of a consumer setting. However, you can use this in a mobile setting or in your shop or your garage. In a professional setting, I would say as a backup. Again, let's continue using this. I'm gonna see how it does with the foam cannon. It does have its own little foam cannon, but it's more just like a little soap dispenser. This little guy here that attaches, it's more like a soap dispenser. You could use that. You could probably even put an APC in here and use it like an APC rinse. You know, again, professional setting, you need a professional foam cannon. I just picked this one up, and of course this is the MTM foam cannon. It is really, really nice. So let's test this foam cannon out with this pressure washer. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, it is a total stop system, so it completely stops. It doesn't continue running. That's another pro. That's good. You don't want a pressure washer that continues to run and run and run. It'll burn itself out. So I think most pressure washers now, electric pressure washers, in fact, have that built in. So I have to say, it foams really well. I filled this up. It's about halfway now, and I just kind of went crazy with it. I just kept on foaming and foaming to see how well it would do. Performs really, really well. I was surprised, actually, because I had a cheaper pressure washer that couldn't really push out the foam. It didn't have, I don't know, the gallons per minute to be able to do it. This one actually does. Now I'm using the Turtle Wax Wash and Wax. I put about 4 to 6 ounces in that 32-ounce bottle, and nice thick foam. Very, very nice. So once again, I want to announce, it's only a few weeks away, but the detailing workshop, March 25th and 26th, is fast approaching. So if you guys want to sign up, please check out the links down below. Go sign up, enter code Miranda. You're gonna get $150 off the total, and the total for 2 days, which includes a bunch of free stuff. You're going to get a Max Shine polisher, Kosh Chemie products, a bunch of other things. It's $1,850 total for those 2 days. If you're considering that type of training, then it might be something for you. On the topic of training, okay, Lexus, relax. Now on the topic of detail training, do you need it? Good question. Now that is something that only you can answer. No one can tell you that you need it or don't need it. So some have been very expressive with their so-called opinions, more like statements that they believe are truths, saying that you just don't need training at all. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money. That is not for anyone else to say, but you. If you want it, if you need it, if you see the value in it, that is up to you. Don't let anyone else say that you either need it or don't need it. You are the only one who can make that determination. It's there, it's available for you if you want it. But for someone to say you don't need it, you just watch YouTube, you can learn everything you need to on YouTube. Yeah, you could. It'll just take you a long time. And here's the funny thing. I get so many questions and so many other detailers here who teach here on YouTube and you know, help other detailers who are new and upcoming. They get so many questions. We get so many questions that we actually take, I mean, hours a week out of our time to answer those questions. You could get so many of your answers from a couple of days of hands-on training. Not all the answers, but the majority of them. You're there with us. You prepare, write everything down in a notebook, all the questions, all the things that you need to learn and you want answers to, and you come to the training and you talk to us face to face, you know, and get that one-on-one hands-on training. When you go home, you'll have all the answers there. There'll be some other things that you'll learn along the way, but that's going to kickstart you. What should I say to those asking me questions on our channel? Should I say, just keep watching YouTube and not answer their questions? That in itself is training. Answering their questions, sometimes really lengthy answers that I have to give. Is that training? Yeah, it's actually part of it, but I can only do so much. I can only show and answer so much in that way. So that's why hands-on training is so important. So for those who are saying it's a waste of time, you don't need to do it, speak for yourself only. And make sure to phrase those sentences correctly, because that is certainly misleading. And it is, in fact, not true, because of all the questions, all the inquiries that we get. Obviously, people do need it and want it. So it's here available for you. Now, of course, nothing is free, guys. Nothing is free with things like that. We are bringing to the table our years of experience. That counts for something. That's very important. Many other avenues of training in any industry, in any service or trades or whatever it is, there's always training involved. Always training. Whether it's in company free, because you're being hired by the person or by the company, or you pay for it. College, university, any type of trade schools, once you graduate, you have to pay for all that stuff. Why should this be any different? We can't just give away our time because that cuts into our time. And then we have to say, no, sorry, we can't help you at all. We can't help you for free all of the time. I'm always there to answer questions as much as I can. I've helped a few people even free, either on Zoom calls or something like that. And I'm totally happy to do that every once in a while. It's very rare. I will charge for an hour or more of my time on Zoom to do a face-to-face Zoom call and answer your questions. I have to. That's only fair, right? It has to be fair. We're running a business. If I were to do that to everybody, I would lose my business. That wouldn't be wise. And at that point, you really shouldn't be taking any advice from me because I'm just doing everything for free. I'm working for my money. I have to. So I know that's something that I had to put out there because that is very important, and I don't think a lot of people really truly understand the value of any type of training and what we're trying to bring to the table for those who are willing to learn. So take that all into consideration. If you need or want training, it is here available for you. If you don't need it, no problem. Carry on. Learn on your own. Just don't judge others or put it upon others saying that you don't need it when you don't know those people's situation. Now I had the 40-degree tip in here, the white tip. I'm going to switch over to my favorite green 25-degree. I get a lot of questions about this too. It'll actually increase the pressure a little bit. It's a little bit more of a narrower stream. I think it rinses a little bit better. It's just my preference. A lot of other detailers like the 25-degree tip. So I do. I use it all the time. The other thing I notice with these residential hoses is they kink up really easily. Or not really kink up, but they don't lay flat like a 3/8 inch professional pressure washer hose. So you just got to keep that in mind because it could be a trip hazard. But you just learn how to maneuver it and twist this. And I do have a twist handle here anyway, so that does help a lot. But it's just something to keep in mind because these hoses don't like to lay flat. They like to just kind of curl up. So, but that's just a residential hose. That's just what they do. Now, this company, the Giraffe Tools company that sent me this pressure washer, this is not a sponsored video at all. So I'm not getting paid for this. But we did have a lengthy conversation via email. And a lot of these companies want to send YouTubers like us that have a substantial channel. I don't think our channel is huge or anything, but it's substantial. We have some great viewers, some great followers, and people who look up to us, you know, and we have a certain reputation. These are not sponsored videos that I do for these types of tools and products. But we did have a conversation, and a lot of those companies are very pushy. They want you to do this for free. I actually said, look, I'll actually do it, but it has to be according to my standards. I'm going to incorporate it into our usual videos like we usually do. It's not going to be a dedicated review video. It's, you know, it's going to be incorporated into our usual videos. You know, those companies, they try to negotiate all sorts of stuff. After I repeatedly told them, you have to abide by my standards. If I'm going to put links down below, they're going to be affiliate links that are for me, not for the company. I don't like to do their affiliate links because I don't really think it's a good deal at all, being honest, and I know the company will be watching this, but the fact is I'm the one putting in the work, doing the videos and using it, and not just saying what they want us to say. And here's an interesting thing. They wanted me to send this video in once I'm done editing to them first before I publish it. Their reasoning was so that I don't say anything, so that people aren't confused by anything. The fact of the matter is, if you're not paying me to do a sponsored type video like that, the traditional way, which again, I've done a few, but I only do them if they are products that I've already used for a long time and I enjoy them and I like them, just like my friend Pan, the organizer. He does the same thing, of course, on a larger scale. That's the reason why. I'm not going to give a bad review. I think bad reviews can be very subjective and very misleading because those opinions that from a bad reviewer, they state it like law. They state it like it's just the last word, and that really isn't even the case in many types of tools and products. It can be so subjective, and there's so many variables. When someone gives a negative review, it can actually hurt a product that is actually good. That's why I don't do it. I'm going to give you pros and cons. I'm going to show you real world ways of applying it and methods and techniques and just showing you how to use it. I've used certain spray products before that in the industry are viewed as garbage. People don't like them, and I get great results with them. I'm not going to go by those other bad reviews. I'm going to go by what I experience firsthand. And not because a company is paying me, it's because I actually use the product, it works, and if a company approaches us and says, hey, you've been using it for a while, do you mind doing a dedicated video? And we'll pay you for it. And sometimes I'll do that. Of our 600 plus videos, only a handful are truly sponsored, but they're products that I actually enjoy using, I use to this day, in our professional detailing business, and they work, despite what others think or say. Doesn't matter. But with this, still, even in our conversations, even after I told them, look, you're not paying me, I don't need to do anything that you want me to do. You send it to me, even though I said it's going to be incorporated into a video, it's not going to be a dedicated video, but they continue to kind of persist and kind of push that they want it done their way. Not going to happen. Sorry, guys. I'm going to give you pros and cons. I'm going to give you real world results, showing you how the product works, and I will be very upfront and honest and tell you the pros and cons of it. Some people just don't like these types of machines at all. They just say they're junk and they don't last and who cares? I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I've had cheap pressure washers that I just sold one, but I used it for almost 2 years until I upgraded to this one, and it worked great. And it was a little $150 Home Docs pressure washer, and I used it for a long time and it just worked. Never had any problems with it. Some burn out, but whatever. They're making thousands of them at a time. You're going to get a lemon every once in a while, and that one lemon, that one person who gets it makes a review of it and says that it's terrible and all these bad things. Look, guys, reviews are subjective anyway. Take them with a grain of salt. Look at all of the reviews as a whole and look at the negative reviews first, because a lot of them are just, I'm sorry to say this, but very uneducated, ignorant people will leave those bad reviews. Now, there are some bad reviews that are very lengthy and very well put together, and they just had a bad experience and they just never want to deal with it again. And then you read other glowing reviews of people who actually purchase it. So I know, it can be so crazy, so subjective, so many variables. But look, guys, the bottom line is I'll use this until I have a problem with it, and I'll show you what the problem is with it, if I have a problem. If not, and I continue to use it, well then, it works for me. The unit itself is about 300 bucks. I know, it's kind of a hefty price tag. It is a very neat unit. It's all together with 100 feet. I mean, it has some definite pros to it. So take all of that stuff into consideration. I know this is lengthy, and for those who are listening to this all the way to this point right now, it means that you want to learn, you want the information, and you want to bypass all of the subjective ridiculousness and get down to the nuts and bolts, the reality of things. And that's what I do here on this channel. I don't need to hide anything. I make my living from detailing, not YouTube. So that's why I don't need to do sponsored videos and do any of that. I do this for enjoyment and to be able to teach and to train others. Now, when you're done, I'm going to shut the water off, shut the machine off, and just drain it and reel it right back up. What I might do, I'm gonna move this little ball here all the way to the end, so it'll go all the way in and hang like this. I'll do that later. But first time using it, pretty decent. We'll see how long it lasts. I don't know if it can stay out in the rain. It's a lot of plastic parts, but you have grease in here, and too much rain will wash that out eventually. This is probably a unit that you don't want necessarily outdoors all the time in the rain. If you have it under cover or in the garage, I think that would be better. I think that would be safer for it. All right, the Lexus is pulled in. It's all dry, ready to go. Now, here is something that is also very controversial between detailers. Should you do a strip wash before you polish or wax or do any of that? I talked about that in another video. As far as before you're polishing, do you need to strip the, whatever protection is on here before you start polishing? Won't it mess with the polish? I don't know where that information came from, but for me, it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. If you're using a microfiber pad and a cutting compound, whatever's on here is gonna be gone. Within the first couple of passes, gone. And it's not gonna interfere with your cutting. Maybe the first few passes, but you'll never know it. You'll never know it all. The numbers on that are inconsequential, and they're not even something you can quantify. It makes no difference. So guys, please, my fellow detailers who are starting out, do not be fooled by that type of information. It does not make a difference. It doesn't make any sense either. Think about it. Think about it from a logical standpoint. Whatever protection is on here, if it's a wax, a sealant, if it's a ceramic coating, you do need to know that beforehand, but you can usually tell if you ask the customer, or by the way that it's beading and all of that. If you know it's a ceramic coating, just use a heavy cutting compound in a microfiber disc, and you're gonna take it off. Don't worry about that. It'll come off. If it's a super strong, like Crystal Serum Ultra or some other type of crazy coating, maybe you'll have to do wet sanding, but you're really not gonna come across that too often. I know some are gonna disagree and come up with their numbers, but I've done it. I've done it to vehicles that supposedly have been coated and they looked coated, and I polished over it, wiped it, recoated it. They come in on regular maintenance and the coating still is responding perfectly. Nothing happened to it. It's totally fine. So no, I'm speaking from experience. I know exactly what I'm talking about because I've seen it firsthand. So please, my fellow detailers who are up and coming and learning, don't be fooled by that. Just use clear logic. It's totally fine. And understand how waxes and sealants and things like that work, how polishing works. It's an abrasion. It's abrasive. Use a cutting pad or microfiber disc and use a polish or a compound. It is going to abrade the surface. If you're removing swirls, it means you've already taken off whatever was on the top and you're now removing clear coat. So do you think a coating is going to still be on here if the swirls are gone? No, it doesn't make sense. Of course it's going to be gone. So that's what I mean by logic. So don't worry, guys. Don't worry about that. It's very, very simple. Once you understand that logical concept, the rest of it will be so much easier to understand and learn. Don't be fooled by what people are telling you, because that makes absolutely zero sense. Let's go ahead and polish this. There are some deeper scratches on here that I'm not worried about. I want overall clarity, 50% or more removal of the swirls on here. Let me show you what it looks like first. Oh, I'm loving my new Scan Grip. Ooh, that's tough. A little magnetic holder. It's awesome. This thing is a Scan Grip. It is a dual light. So you have this light, and then you turn it the other way, all the way, and you have that light, spotlight. So check it out. These are the type of swirls we're talking about. Some are heavier than others in some areas. Overall, not horrible, but you can definitely see some swirls. There's some heavier stuff in here too. Again, I'm just not worried about. There's deep scratches like that, but this is what we're talking about overall. So let's clear that up. Yep, as we look at the paint, that's acceptable. Perfect. I'm not going crazy here anyway. All right, sorry guys, my battery died on my main camera and for some reason I forgot to plug in the battery charger, so as that's charging, we're going to use our GoPro 10. Like I mentioned, this is all now polished. I'm going to give it a quick wipe down and then we'll get to coating. I'm going to show you what I'm going to use on here to test. I flipped this towel inside out because I only used one side. So I'm going to use this and I have the little bottle that came with the little spray coating. That's what we're going to use today as one half of the hood for protection. So we're going to use this to prep. I always like to spray the towel instead of the paint. That's just my preference. As long as you get it on there, it's going to remove the oils, if there is any. So the two products that we're going to put on the hood is going to be the Phoenix EOD Immortal. This is their spray coating. And this is the Meguiar's hybrid spray coating. One on one side, one on the other. I'm going to do a control section in the middle. Well, let's just play around with these guys and see how well they actually last. Again, real world results. I'm not going to do chemical testing and all that type of stuff. Just put it on here, you do my usual washing, driving, and all of that, and see how it actually responds. This doesn't always sit in the garage either. It's about 50-50% of the time in the garage. Actually less than that, because mostly through the week I have cars in here. So it really doesn't spend that much time. It's like the weekends it has to sleep in here, and that's about it. Yeah. So the control is just going to be a small strip down the middle. That's it. Just enough so you can actually see a difference. Now I am going to do a few little touch-up spots here. I got these little guys, little tiny mini swabs. Because the brush that comes with this is whack. What happened here? So I'm going to just touch it up. Whoa, that's way too much. These actually work very, very well. A little better than a toothpick, actually. So, again, it's touch-up paint. It's not perfect. You can wet sand it down and all that if you so choose, but I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to go with the Kronos. So I'm going to go with the Immortal on this side. Applicator. This stuff is very potent. It smells really strong. So be in an open environment here. And I'm going to do the entire section. I'm not going to worry about doing little tiny sections. I'm used to coatings like this. Not worried at all. And for those who are getting into coatings, get something like this and apply the coating in a traditional fashion. That way you get the hang of it. Now this stuff will start to do like a little bit of a rainbow effect. It's really hard to capture. I really can't do it with the camera, capture that rainbowing, but once it does that, I'm going to come in with the towel and just kind of level it all out. And as you level it out, you're removing some of the carrier oils and you're helping it to evaporate. It's already bonded to the paints. It's already bonded, and what you're doing is just helping the carrier fluids evaporate. That transfer fluid evaporates away, leaving the particles to bond and crystallize and harden. I know, I'm no scientist, but from the research I've done, that's basically what's happening. Bring you over here. Now for this side, same thing. This is cool. Comes in an aerosol can. Same application. Shake it well. Spray it onto the pad. Again, initial application, I kind of drenched the little pad here really, really well. Same thing. Apply it in the same form. This actually will rainbow and flash a little bit faster. That's what I see happening here. Let me see if I can get you in and so you can see what I'm talking about. I don't know if it's showing up. You can see the lines, but the rainbowing is very, very hard to capture. Oh, here's my towel for here. And again, wipe off. You can see it kind of smear a little bit like that. It's evaporating. And the more you wipe, I'm going to flip the towel inside out, fresh side. And the more you wipe, it will all flash away. And I will have a video where we applied this outside onto a beautiful older red truck. And it did awesome. Look at that, beautiful. Nice and crystal clear. So this is gonna sit overnight. Both of these will cure. I'm gonna take off the tape here, and we're gonna see what these products can do in the real world. That was terrible. I'm gonna go back in here and just even out any lines that may have caused. Sometimes the coating may go under the tape. I don't want that to happen. As far as slickness goes, initially, oh, interesting. I mean, these are different coatings. I know they're not exactly the same. The Meguiar's one feels slicker. It's a different formula. This one's a little bit grabbier, but it'll be very interesting to see which one will be more hydrophobic and which one will last longer. Again, real world, many different variables going on here, but it'll just be interesting to see. This is nothing nefarious. This is nothing trying to say one is better than the other, because both options are completely viable depending on what you want. So it all has to do with personal choice and what works for your demographic as well. I'm getting good feedback from this coating here. A lot of people are saying they love it. It does an exceptional job. And this one I haven't heard too much about yet, as far as people using it and seeing the reaction. So if you have used this, please let me know down below if you have videos or links to videos, because this, and they also have the other Kronos ceramic coating. I have that also that I'm going to be using soon. We're going to test it out. But application of this is so easy. It's really, really easy. We also used Papa Cut today. So this was from Phoenix. We used Papa Cut with the Orange Lake Country pad. That's what we used to polish. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. I know, lots of information in here. Feel free to go back and look at the different sections in the video. I will have them sectioned off, and that way you can kind of see what you want to see in the video. I know I talk about the training. We have that March 25th and 26th. Check out the links down below. Don't forget to enter that code Miranda for $150 off the total. Plus, you're going to get all that free stuff. So remember that. It's in a couple of weeks now. It's coming up very, very soon. So you don't want to miss that if you are interested in training. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you have a great week. Take care.